Hey Woodturners, I'm Captain Eddie Castle and welcome to my shop. Today we're going to be making some shavings. I'm cutting out the stock for a great project. Now this is a fun little project, but it's also a skill builder in exact turning. And get this, you can do it on any size lathe and there's no special equipment required. You're going to love it, and all you got to do, watch. Our project today is called the Femesphere. It is a lopsided, wally-poggle looking little gizmo. Here, take a look at it. This is what we're going to turn. Now I said it's a skill builder because the curves, they have to be exact. The layout, you have to do before you get started. And will it screw with people's minds? Yeah. Let's get started with a cutout. Okay, I took a block of wood. Alright, any hardwood will work. That has to be extremely hard. Hardwood is got leaves on it, right, instead of a conifer. Alright, but pick a nice piece of wood. Not your best one to start with, just a nice piece. Let's make it into a cube. This one is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, so we cut it a little bit long, almost 4. Why? Because of the layout that we're going to use. Take a look at the chart here. Now, this is the overall piece that we're talking about in cross section. Now, if you can understand this cross section, it's going to be right here. But for this thing to go together really well, I'm going to have one this way and one this way. Wait a minute, you drew the same thing. I know, but when you do this, you change the grain, don't you? 1, 2, and then we put them, well, you have to see how we do it later and put them back together again. Then the grain doesn't change, and that is when you mess with people's minds, because they try to figure out how you did it. And if you did a really good job, they won't figure it out. Now, once we've made the block, we split it in half. That means made 2 pieces, okay? Even, equal pieces. All right. Then, this surface and this surface that go together have to be absolutely, positively, certainly, no doubt about it, 100% bona fide, flat. So, you take it to your sanding plate and you sand it. And then you take it to your lapping glass, which is a piece of glass with some 180 grit paper on it, and you flatten it some more so that there's no marks, nothing. It's a ready finished piece. Same thing with this one, because when you put them together, we're going to put them together with double stick tape. But later on, when you put them together this way, or, well, whatever, we're going to put them together with, well, with glue. And that's when you don't want the line to show. Alright, now, we've got the stock. You've seen the picture. I think it's just about time to get to turning. Right? Right. Really should have marked which was my best sides, huh? Nah, we'll wing it. I want to take an opportunity to show you what I'm talking about on a chartboard before we get started. Let me explain something. Now, the big blue square, of course, that's your block of wood, right? The line here, that's the center line of turning. There'll be a headstock and a drive center on both ends. Now, this is what we're going to turn. We're going to turn this curve, which will give us, of course, this one and this one. Here's the deal. This radius right here from this fixed point is the same as this radius, and this radius. Exactly. Now we're going to make a plastic template that looks like this curve, and it's going to have a line here and a line here. And one line is going to line up with the spinning outside of the piece, and the other is going to line up with the end that we determined will be the width and that radius. And this piece right here this is going to be about 3/8 of an inch thick, which means this will be 3/8. This will be 3/8. This will be 3/8. Here, let me stop and I'll go to another chart and show you what happens. You follow it, we get through, we're going to have a piece that has a piece of tape right here. And we have 1 and 1, right? Okay. When we get done, we're going to take this piece, which looks like this on both axes. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees and glue it back on. So the next time we look at it, it's going to be like that. And that gives us the Femesphere look. We're still going to have the glue line and the offsets and all that. But we put it back together, it's going to completely change the complexity of the complexion of the project. And the brains got a little more prep work done. Remember, we put our block together with the double stick tape. Then I found the center on the end where the grain's running, one this way and one the other way. Okay, I knocked the corners off just because no use knocking on those square corners when I'm turning it. And I drilled a hole for the center, a very small hole like a 5/64 on both ends, because I'm going to hold it between my stibe center and my live center, and I don't want either point to blow this apart. I'm going to be pushing on the joint of the tape. Remember on this sketch I showed you where the tape is, that is the line of cutting. So we don't want to blow it apart right there. I'm going to put it between the stibe center and the steady and my steady, and I know that thing is called the tailstock, and I'll show you what we'll do next. Stibe center. Can't live without it, really. Here we have it. Lock it down. I'm going to tighten it up. Remember, on the stibe center, I have to keep pressure on the ends in order to keep the teeth of the stibe center engaged. I didn't draw my template out yet because it's all depending upon, pardon my reach, the rough size of the barrel. When I get it to the rough size, then I'll design my template. No use getting disappointed and doing something I can't work with. Take my roughing gouge, knock the corners off. You're wondering what kind of wood this is? Some guy came by one day and said, "Would you like to turn this?" I said, "Sure. What is it?" "I don't know." I said, "Tell you what, if it's fresh and green, throw it in my rose garden. Let's see what happens if it sprouts." Been out there 2 years. Never did spout. Once I get the corners knocked off, I'll give you a brief warning here. Remember, that is 2 pieces of wood put together and sandwiched this way. Just like this. So if you get a catch and it's substantial, you're going to knock it apart. It's going to ring your bell. So don't juke that big roughing gouge in there. Gentle, nice cuts. Let me show you something. Come on, get in there. Alright. That's the bevel. That's a gentle cut with the bevel. talk a little bit about dimensions. Let's check this dimension right here. Whatever it is, let's play high school and say it's X. Then this dimension is X plus 3/8 of an inch. Okay? Give or take a little. I'd rather you have a little more than a little less. I'd like about a ½ an inch extra this way. Why? When you'll see it later when we put it together, but let's not get too far off. We're going to work from a center point and we're going to work to a dimension. So, with that, I think we have a good sized piece. Let me move you in another position and I'll show you the layout. I'd like to explain where we are. Well, I would ever like to explain it, but let me try. Okay, I found the center of my block. I went 3/16 one way, 3/16 the other. That's going to be my 3/8 center band. What I have left over is what? 1 5/8. Okay? I'm going to have a 1 5/8 inch radius here, a 1 5/8 inch radius here. When I'm all done, that's going to give me 3 1/4, correct? And I am about 3 5/8. So I'm going to have a little stub down here. I'm working from here with the square line. You'll understand more in the cutting, but I need to take the same scoop here as I take here perfectly. I mean, right on the money. There's going to be some scraping involved and probably a little crying before it's all over with. I'm going to cut my template out. I might start crying now and save from being embarrassed later. This is my template. I cut out a piece of plexiglass or a lens from my shield. And this is a square corner I have right here. Okay? I'm sorry. Mislead you. This is my point. This is my square corner. I need that square to line it up with when I go in here to make sure that I go straight in and I'm straight across, so I'm not skewed out. I need to be the same distance in 2 directions. Follow that? Let's get to turning. The deal now is to make this cut, and you can't put it back on, so you cut it exactly where it's supposed to be. I'm using my deep U 3/8 inch gouge. I've got a sharpened brand new edge on it. This is from D-Way Tools. Dave, who's a wood turner selling the wood turners. Nice sharp edge on it. And I start closed and open it up. Remember, every cut's a practice cut. I think in the position you are, you're going to be able to appreciate how this turns so much better without having it back on that gouge. Let me explain to you. Right about now, you start taking a look at your template and you see if you're even. To see if you've got the same sweep happening. All the way through. Where can I go? Okay, right here. You see? I'm looking pretty good. I've got a pretty good sweep going on in there. It's sometimes hard to determine if you're on track or not. Well, adjustment your tool rest so you're not hanging out too far when you get to the bottom. Remember, that's going to be about 5/8 when this is about 5/8. So I still have to take some off the bottom over here. I'm getting closer. 3/8 parting, that 3/8 ball gouge, I don't think there's anything finer for cutting like this. Look at the little hairs it's pulling off. That's slicing wood to the best degree. Now, boy, that's pretty. Now we start taking a look at our template here, and I've got to go back over a little bit, and then when I go over and go down, I'll be at the right position. But as you can see, my sweep is pretty close to being right. So I'm on the right track. I just got to get this train to go a little faster. Take a look. We're not too far off. Oops, I got it upside down. We're not too far off. I got to be over a little bit, and I got to be down a little bit. Okay, to get the curves right. I got to get some out of here. Now, making those cuts for some guys is pretty hard. So, I bring out the big guns. This is a 3/4 inch or 1 inch wide round nose scraper made by anybody but Craftsman. There you go. And we scrape it. We're really, really close. In fact, we're so close we're there. Our curve matches the curve we wanted. I'll tell you what, I could work a little bit more out of here, and then we'll flip around and go to the other side. The key item is this dimension right here and this dimension up here is going to have to match. So whatever I have here, I have to have up here. Clean this up a little bit, and now I'll cut on the other side. If you wondered why I put blue tape on that template, now you know. When it's left there and I'm cutting, I can still find it. Do you know how many times I searched for a clear one? Oh, you don't know, because I'm not going to tell you. I have enough room to get about a 1/16 to 3/8 inch stub on this end, right over here. So I'm going to start doing the exact same thing I did on the front end, and that is start taking some wood away. I have to be gentle now because I'm going a little bitty stub over there. Remember the part where I said whatever this dimension is, I have to have here. So I am just about there to match it. Just a little bit and just a little bit. So I can't go beyond this point right here. I have to make that work for my template. Wow, that went pretty quick. I went to the scraper right away. Because a knot I didn't see before popped up right back here, and it was catching. So I scraped, and I'm in the right shape here. The three key dimensions right now: this measurement, and this measurement have to be the same. That's key. This end, and here. This one is a silly 32nd of an inch heavy. That means a lot of sanding later on. So just take a few seconds. We try not to cut the chuck, the drive. Try not. I tell my students all the time, I'm okay when you cut anything, including your fingers. Just don't cut my chucks and my drives. Much better. We're going to sand this, just like it is. I'm pretty comfortable with what I have, so I'm going to start with 180. And I don't want to round that corner, so I want to keep it very flat and stay in the center. Same thing with these other bends. And this is just really a rough sanding. We're going to have to do a lot of sanding on a piece after we assemble it. But that gets me a chance to see if I have any tool marks I want to fix using a tool versus sanding. I'll take it all the way to 400, just like this. The piece should look mirror image opposite on either side, no difference. So you can see what we're going to do. That's the glue line, remember? We're going to split it. We're going to go to one of the ends. We're going to put our knife in. We're going to work it down through there. Now we don't want to do this kind of action and work it open too hard, because any marks we put down on that joint is going to show on our finished piece. Go to the other end. Find our other joint and work it open. That's why I told you to get a knife, a real knife. Once you get the white knife down in there, then you can start running just the wedge of the blade, and you can open it up all the way around. If you start twisting it back and forth and you mark those edges up, those marks are going to show. Just let the knife do its job, and it will pry it open. That is double stick duct tape. Boys, that stuff hold. That was our original shape. This will be our new shape. And we put it back together. We've done the right job. I want to show you this. We're going to almost get a grain match walking around this piece. So when you put it back together again and you sand this out gently, you're going to get something that looks like you took it out of one block of wood. And it's going to drive your brother-in-law's crazy trying to figure out how you did it. Yep. And there's some variations to the theme I want to talk to you about too. As I said earlier, this is a fun little project, and it's an interesting piece. If you want to have some real fun with it, now I've got one and I gave it to an auction a long time ago, and it raised a lot of money for a school. But when I started off gluing it this way, before I glued it together, I took those two blanks and I hollowed out a depression in the center of about 1 inch round by 1/2 inch deep in both parts. Then when I put it together like this, I marked it with some little pins, squeezed it, had centers marked here, centers marked here. I drilled them out in the 1/8 inch Forstner bit, or brad point bit, and I put a rare earth magnet on both sides so you could put it together, but really not put it together. Then turn a little bitty one and put it inside. Just telling you, you can have a lot of fun with this. And it's a nice project. I'm going to sand this one out. I really like this wood, although I don't know what it is. There's the grain match. I'm going to glue it together with weldwood glue. I'll clean up the glue off the two sides of my lapping stone to get any trash off and make sure they're flat. Then I'm going to put some weldwood glue in there and glue them together. And tomorrow, I'm going to take my little powered sander with a soft pad and a soft interface and lap out any little joints. But I was pretty good, and I don't have a lot of joints to work on or edges to get rid of. That's precision turning. That's skill building. And that's making shavings. I'm Captain Eddie Castellan, and you take care. I'll see you soon. Well, by the way, the only thing I use special in here is the sandpaper came from Vince Welsh at Vince's Wooden Wonders. And that awesome 3/8 inch bowl gouge came from Dave at D-Way Tools. Otherwise, it was just talent. Just talent. You really needed to hear that, didn't you? See you later. Take care. Somebody's going to tell me what this wood is.